Hey everybody, this is chapter 10 of The Outsiders. I walked down the hall in a daze. Dally had taken the car and I started a long walk home in a stupor. Johnny was dead, but he wasn't. That still body back in the hospital, it couldn't be Johnny. Johnny was somewhere else. Maybe asleep in the lot, or maybe in the pinball machine in the bowling alley, or sitting in the back steps of the church in Windricksville. I'm just going to go home and I'll walk by the lot, and Johnny's going to be there smiling on the curb, smoking a cigarette. And maybe we'd lie on our backs and we'd watch the stars. No, he isn't dead. I said to myself, he isn't dead. And this time my dreaming worked, because I convinced myself that he wasn't dead. I must have wandered around for hours, sometimes even out into the street, getting honked at and cussed out. I might have stumbled around all night except for a man who asked me if I wanted a ride. Huh? No, I guess so, I said. I got in. The man, who was in his mid-20s, looked at me. Are you all right, kid? You look like you've been in a fight. Yeah, I have been. It was a rumble, but I'm okay. Johnny is not dead, I thought to myself. I told myself again, and honestly, I was starting to believe it. Hate to tell you this, kiddo, but you're bleeding all over my car seats. I blinked. I am? Your head! I reached up to a scratch on the side of my head where I'd been itching it for a while. Then I looked at my hand. It was smeared with blood. Gosh, mister, I'm real sorry, I said, dumbfounded. Don't worry about it. This wreck's been through worse. What's your address? I'm not about to dump a hurt kid out on the street at this time of night. So I told him my address, and he drove me to the house. I got out. Thanks a lot. What was left of our gang was in the living room. Steve was stretched out on the sofa, his shirt unbuttoned and his side bandaged. His eyes were closed, but when the door shut behind me, he opened them, and I suddenly wondered if my eyes looked as feverish and bewildered as his. Soda had a wild cut in his lip and a bruise across his cheek. There was a band-aid over Derry's forehead, and he had a black eye. One side of Two-Bit's face was taped up. I found out later they had 4 stitches on his cheek and 7 in his hand, where he had busted his knuckles over Associate's head. They were all lounging around, reading the paper and smoking. Where's the party? I thought dully. Where's Soda and Steve planning a party for the Rumble? They all looked up when I walked in, and Derry leaped to his feet. Where have you been? Oh, let's not start this again, I thought. He stopped suddenly. Wait, Pony, but what's the matter? I looked at them all, and I was a little frightened. Johnny, he's dead. My voice sounded strange even to me, but he's not dead, a voice in my head said. No, he's not dead. We told him about the Soch and how we beat them, and I don't know. He just died. He told me to stay gold, I remembered. What was he talking about? Why would he say stay gold? There was a stricken silence. I don't know if any of us had realized how bad off Johnny really had been. Soda made a funny noise, and I looked like he was going to start crying. Two-Bit's eyes were closed, and his teeth were clenched, and I suddenly remembered Dally. Dally, pounding on that wall. Dallas is gone. He ran out like the devil was after him. He's going to blow up. He couldn't take it. How can I take this, I wonder? Dally is tougher than I am. Why can't I take it when Dally can't? And then I knew. Johnny was the only thing that Dally loved. And now, Johnny was gone. So he finally broke. Two-Bit spoke everyone's feeling. Even Dallas has a breaking point. I started shaking at this point. Derry said something in a low voice to Soda. Pony boy, you look real sick. Sit down, Soda said softly. I backed up, just like a frightened animal, shaking my head. No, I'm okay. But I did feel sick. I felt as if at any minute I was going to fall flat on my face, but I shook my head. I don't want to sit down. Derry took a step forward towards me, but I backed away. Don't touch me, I said. My heart was pounding in low thumps, throbbing at the side of my head, and I wondered if everyone else could hear it. Maybe that's why they were all looking at me, I thought. They can hear my heart beating. The phone rang, and after a moment's hesitation, Derry turned from me. He said, hello? Then listened and hung up quickly. That was Dallas. He phoned from a booth. He's just robbed a grocery store and the cops are after him. We gotta hide him. He's gonna be in a lot of trouble in a minute here. He's going to the lot in a minute. Let's go. We all left the house in a dead run, even Steve, and I wondered vaguely why no one was doing somersaults off the steps this time. Things were sliding in and out of focus, and it seemed funny to me that I couldn't run in a straight line. We reached that vacant lot just as Dally came in. He was running as hard as he could from the opposite direction. The wail of the siren grew louder, and then a police car pulled up around the street from the lot. Doors slammed as the police leaped out. Dally had reached the circle of light under the street lamp and skidded to a halt. He turned and jerked a black object from his waistband. I remembered his voice. "I've been carrying a heater. It ain't loaded, but it sure does help a bluff." It was only yesterday that Dally had told Johnny and me that, but yesterday was years ago now. It was a lifetime ago. Dally raised his gun, and I thought, "You blasted fool! They don't know that you're only bluffing." And even as the policeman's gun spit fire into the night, I knew it was exactly what Dally had wanted. He was jerked half around by the impact of all the bullets into his body. Then slowly he crumbled with a look of grim triumph in his face. He was dead before he even hit the ground. But I knew that was what he wanted. Even as the lot echoed with the crack of shots, even as I begged silently, "Please, not him and Johnny both on the same day." I knew, though, that Dally would be dead because Dallas Winston wanted to be dead. And Dally Winston always got what he wanted. Nobody would write editorials, though, praising Dally. 2 friends of mine had died in the same night. One died a hero and the other died a hoodlum. But I remember Dally putting Johnny through that window, pulling him through that window at that burning church. Dally giving us his gun, although it would maybe mean jail time for him. Dally risking his life for both of us, trying to keep Johnny out of trouble. And now he was a dead juvenile delinquent, and there wouldn't be any editorials in his favor. Dally didn't die a hero. He died violent and young and desperate, just like we all knew that he would probably die someday. Just like Tim Shepard and Curly Shepard and the Brumley boys and the other guys we all knew would die someday too. But Johnny was right. Johnny, he died gallant. Steve stumbled towards with a sob, but Soda caught him by the shoulders. "Easy, buddy, easy," I said softly. "There's nothing we could do. God, nothing we could do. Not for Dally, not for Johnny, or Tim Shepard, or any of us." My stomach gave a violent start and turned to a hunk of ice. The world was spinning around me, and blobs of faces and visions of things past were dancing in the red mist that covered the lot. I swirled into a mass of colors, and I felt myself swaying to my feet, and someone cried, "Glory, look at the kid!" And suddenly the ground rushed up on me to meet me very suddenly. When I woke up, it was light, and it was awfully quiet. Too quiet. I mean, our house just isn't naturally quiet. The radio's usually not full blast, and the TV's turned up loud, and people are wrestling and knocking over lamps and tripping over the coffee table and yelling at each other. Something was wrong, but I couldn't quite figure it out. Something had happened. I couldn't remember what, so I blinked at Soda bewilderedly. He was sitting on the edge of the bed watching me. "Soda, is somebody sick?" "Yeah, man, go back to sleep now." His voice was oddly gentle. An idea suddenly was dawning on me. Wait, am I the sick one? He stroked my hair. "Yeah, you're the sick one. Now be quiet, all right?" I had one more question. I was still kind of mixed up. "Is Derry sorry I'm sick?" I had a funny feeling that Derry was sad because I was sick. Everything seemed vague and hazy. So to give me a funny look, he was quiet for a moment. "Yeah, he's sorry you're sick. Now shut up, will you, honey? Go back to sleep." I closed my eyes. I guess I was awfully tired after all. And when I woke the next day, it was daylight, and I was hot under the blankets on me. I was thirsty and hungry, but my stomach was uneasy. I knew I wouldn't be able to hold anything down, and Derry had pulled the armchair into the bedroom and was asleep in it. He should be at work, I thought. Why is he asleep in an armchair? "Hey, Derry," I said, softly shaking his knee. "Derry, wake up." "Oh, Pony Boy, you okay?" "Yeah, I think so." Something had happened, but I still couldn't remember it, although I was thinking a lot clearer than the last time I'd waken up. He sighed in relief and pushed my hair back. "Gosh, kid, you had us scared to death." "What's the matter with me?" "I told you were in no condition for a rumble. Exhaustion, shock, minor concussion, and Two-Bit came blubbering over here with some tale about you running a fever just before the rumble and how it was his fault that you were sick. He was pretty torn up that night," Derry said. "We all were." And then I remembered. Dallas and Johnny were dead. Don't think of them, though, I thought. Don't remember how Johnny was your buddy. Don't remember how he didn't want to die. Don't think of Dally breaking up at the hospital, crumbling down on the streetlight. Try to think that Johnny is better off now. Trying to remember that Dally would have ended up like that sooner or later anyway. But best of all, don't think. Blank your mind. Don't remember. Don't remember! When did I get a concussion, I said. How long have I been asleep? You got a concussion from getting kicked in the head. Soda saw it. He landed all over that Soch. I never been so mad I think I could have whipped anyone in the state he was in. Today's Tuesday, and you've been asleep and delirious since Saturday night. Don't you remember? No. Derry, I'm not even going to be able to make up the school I've missed at this point. And I still got to go to court and talk to the police about Bob getting killed. And now, with Dally, Derry, do you think they're going to split us up? Oh, God, don't let them split us up. Put me in a house or something like that? He was silent. I don't know, baby brother. I just don't know. I stared at the ceiling. What would it be like, I wondered, staring at a different ceiling? What would it be like in a different bed in a different room? There was a hard lump in my throat that I couldn't swallow. Don't you even remember being in the hospital? Derry asked. He was trying to change the subject, but I shook my head. I don't remember. You kept asking for me and Soda, sometimes Mom and Dad too, but mostly for Soda. Something in his tone made me look at him, mostly for Soda. God, I hope I at least asked for Derry a little. Was he just saying that, though? Derry! I didn't know quite what I wanted to say, but I had a feeling that maybe I hadn't called for him while I was delirious, and maybe I wanted Soda Pop to be only with me. Was that all I said when I was sick? I couldn't remember, and honestly, I didn't want to remember. Johnny left you his copy of Gone with the Wind, told the nurse he wanted you to have it. I looked at the paperback lying on the table, but I didn't want to finish it. I never get past the part where the Southern gentlemen go riding into sure to death because they sure are gallant. Southern gentlemen with the big black eyes and the jeans and the t-shirts. Southern gentlemen crumbling under streetlights. God, don't remember, Tony boy. Stop. Don't try to decide which one died gallant. Don't remember this. Where's Soda? I asked. And then I could have kicked myself. Why can't you talk to Derry, you idiot? I said to myself. Why do you feel so uncomfortable talking to Derry? He's asleep, I hope. I thought he was going to try to sleep shaving this morning and cut his throat. I had to push him to bed, and he was out like a light in a second. Derry's hope that Soda was asleep was immediately ruined because he came running in, clad only in a pair of blue jeans. Hey, pony boy, he said, and he leaped at me. But Jerry caught him. No rough stuff, little buddy. So Soda had to content himself with bouncing up and down on the bed and pounding on my shoulder. Gosh, but you were sick. You feel all right now? I think I'm all right. I mean, I'm a little hungry. Yeah, I should think you would be. You wouldn't eat anything most of the time you were sick. How'd you like some mushroom soup? I suddenly realized how empty I was. Man, I'd like that just fine, Derry. I'll go make some. Soda Pop, take it easy with him, all right? Soda looked back at him indignantly. You think I was going to challenge him to a track meet or something right out the bat? Oh, no, track meet. I guess this just about puts me out of every race. I won't be back in the condition for any meet. Golly, there's always next year, Soda said. Soda never had grasped the importance Derry and I put on athletics, though. Like he never has understood why we went all out for studying. Don't sweat it about some track meet. Soda, what all I say while I was delirious? Oh, you thought you were in Wintersill most of the time. Then you kept saying that Johnny didn't mean to kill that Soch. Hey, I didn't know you even didn't like bologna, though. I went cold. I don't like it. I never liked it. Soda looked at me. You used to eat it. That's why you wouldn't eat anything while you were sick. You kept saying you didn't like bologna no matter what we were trying to give to you. Well, I don't like it. So did I ask for Derry while I was sick? Yeah, sure you did. You asked for him and me both. Sometimes you asked for Mom and Dad. And you asked for Johnny. Oh, I thought maybe I didn't ask for Derry and it was bugging me. Soda grinned. Well, you did, so don't worry. We stayed with you so much the doctor told us we were going to end up in the hospital ourselves if we didn't get some sleep. But we didn't get any anyway. I took a good look at him. He looked completely worn out, and there were circles under his eyes, and he had a tense, tired look to him. His dark eyes were still laughing and carefree and reckless. You look beat, I said. I bet you ain't had 3 hours since sleep since Saturday night. He grinned to me, but he didn't deny it. Scoot over. He crawled over me and flopped down. Before Derry came back with the soup, we were both asleep. That's chapter 10, everybody.